Man drains family's bank's account, throws 200,000 in cash along Oregon highway. Excuse me?
I read a rather goofy story yesterday that I'd
We're
like to
watching a
share
lot of
with all
movies
of you.
lately.
It's about a man who drained his family's entire bank account in order to throw it all in cash out of a speeding vehicle on the interstate. I believe the motivation was he wanted to try and like give back to people, but it's the most inefficient way imaginable. He's like a very confused Robin Hood. He didn't steal from the rich to give to the poor. He stole from his family to give to nature because most of those bills that he loosely threw out of the car have absolutely ended up just getting either eaten by animals or buried in dirt, sand, run over by other cars, ripped in half. Like it's just the
Now, Charlie might be going into this here in the next couple minutes here, but I don't think anyone does what this guy did with good intentions, right? He can say, "Oh, I just want to give back to the people." No one steals from their family. I mean, that doesn't have like screws loose. Maybe this guy does have mental illness. He clearly has something going on up there, but no one does this with like great intentions.
dumbest plan ever. Nothing about it makes sense. He did it in loose $100 bills. That's giving the money to nobody. He basically just created a real life video game Easter egg. If you go to these random coordinates off the interstate, you might find a few loose hundreds. It is wild. I can only envision a couple of other worse ways of trying to give money to people, and that'd be like dumping 200K in cash down a river and then saying like, well, I wanted to help people, so anyone that happens to go by the river might be able to fish out a couple hundreds or a couple $1,000s from it. Or dumping 200K into a dormant volcano and then saying it's like a long con, so when the volcano erupts, it's like this giant money like geyser that's shooting money into the atmosphere for people to collect on its way down. Like it's just wildly nonsensical and inefficient if you're actually trying to help people. However, chat actually tossed around a theory that opened my third eye to what was probably the motivation behind this, and it most likely wasn't to help people. So I'm just gonna lay it
No
out real quick
shit.
before showing you all the clips.
What's surprised you said that
Basically,
at the
this guy
beginning?
drained his family's entire joint bank account of $200,000 and then threw money out of his car on the interstate. Now, since 200K was now missing from the family's bank account and a lot of money was thrown out of the window and scattered throughout the interstate on the side, they just assumed all 200K had been thrown out by this guy. But what is most likely the case is he threw out a chunk of it, maybe like $10,000, and then kept the other 190K and can just pretend that he threw all of it away, meanwhile has pocketed most of it for himself. Because people
Isn't this like speculation that doesn't need to be speculation? Like, I don't. I guess we're about to find out, but didn't he get arrested or something if he stole that much money? So aren't they gonna see his assets, bank accounts, that kind of thing?
people have reported that they picked up like 2 grand, $1,000, this and that. But it's not like there's these huge batches of like 50K or anything. Like all of the reported numbers so far are $1 to $2,000, so it doesn't equal 200K. He very well could have just thrown out a
It's
small
just a
portion
hundred
of it and
people
kept the
getting
rest
2K.
in order to throw his family off his trail. Like, no, I don't have the money anymore. I threw it all away to help people. Meanwhile, he actually does still secretly have the money. But that's just a theory. Though I do think that does have a lot of weight. You hear about the man in Oregon who
So
threw
maybe
over
he.
200K out of his speed.
So maybe what he did was like he was down, running down the interstate, driving down the interstate. There was a bunch of money, and then what? Like put some in like a box or a bag or something, and maybe buries the bag before he gets arrested, so that whenever he is done getting in trouble or gets out or whatever, he knows where the money's at. Good. I mean, that's a theory. I'm not saying I would ever do that, but
Speeding
she.
car on the highway. Yeah, that was a cool story. I'll bring that up. That's a wholesome one. It's not wholesome at all, actually.
He said it
But
was
his heart was
wholesome.
in the right place. He's just a little confused.
$200,000 cash out a car window. He said he wanted to help people in need.
That's
Yep.
It was his money.
His car as he drove along an interstate in Eugene, Oregon.
Which is just a wild
Hey,
idea, by
Eugene.
the way. Like, first of all, throwing 200K in cash anywhere is wacky. Like, That is outrageous.
I know someone who lives
But
in
to
Eugene.
throw it out of a speeding vehicle is even stupider. It's going to be extremely hard to pick up the cash. But not only that, to throw it out of a speeding vehicle on the interstate where human beings are not like walking is even stupider. Then all the money's just going to keep getting run over until it's worthless. Everything about this plan screams that he had just done like PCP or something and he was seeing God. He was like, holy shit, I'm chosen. Gotta drain the bank account to spread the love.
This guy was driving up and down I-5, dropping out tons of cash.
Chaos erupted as motorists pulled over.
People
and
out
were
looking
for the
filled with
money.
sills.
It's
Holy
also
shit.
extremely dangerous just to be walking around the interstate like this.
Yeah, there's
Like,
no
this is
way.
the worst place you could have ever had people going on a fucking scavenger hunt.
I would be
And at
looking for the
night,
money
too.
too. I'm poor.
This lady's out here playing
Oh,
on Ultra
Jesus.
Nightmare mode. She's wearing black on black. I don't know what the fuck that thought
At
process
nighttime.
is. Hopefully she doesn't see like $100 bill out there, because that could spell the end. That could just be a disaster. Or if you were like an evil supervillain, you put like $100 bill on like a fishing line, you throw it out and reel it in like Mr. Krabs when he was chasing that dollar around. Like this whole thing is just so fucking ridiculous.
Good one, Charlie.
Word spread fast.
Some friends called me and said that they got $2,000.
They left their cars on the
Whoa.
side of the road with traffic whizzing by. Just a handful of people wondered if this was the right thing to do.
We have one of the people who picked up the large sum of cash, $1,800 worth.
Oh, they
pulled
thought it
over
was
to the side
stolen.
of I-5 wanting to know what to do with the money.
The dude who is said to have tossed out the
I
family
mean,
bank
shit, he
account
found it.
has been identified as Colin Davis McCarthy.
Classic
State
Colin W.
troopers say he does.
This guy isn't in any legal trouble at all because he was on the account. He had a right to throw the money away, as crazy as it sounds.
Oh,
says
shit.
Bleezy
Sounds like a
Really?
radio DJ.
That money is very much needed by the family.
Such a fucking crazy story. Every single iota of that plan is dumb.
No legal trouble. Family actually needed the money. I mean, he was either in an argument with someone or
Draining all
Some
of the
shit.
money
Oh,
from
fuck.
his family's account. And then instead of like doing, if he wanted to just give away everything, like all of his worldly possessions or whatever, that's one thing. You like actually give it away or do some kind of, I don't know, effective means of giving. This guy just threw it out over the interstate like a bank robber.
it's
And then he
crazy.
throws away like his family's financial trend. Where in a maybe this inspires him, and he throws
All right, Charlie.
the
Thank you.
something there. You probably have.
Good old Oregon. Oregon's got some crazy motherfuckers, bro. Like, truly.